Hey YouTube, this is Kirko Kaiser. It's been a little bit since I've done like some tournament reports. I usually am lazy and I'll do a bunch at once. Since set 5 came out, I've played 3 tournaments. First one was a team tournament where I personally went undefeated that day. My teammates lost though, so I didn't get to play with my normal teammates, unfortunately. They were both busy, but I still had good teammates. It's just they got luck sacked. But that first tournament, I played at MLB, and we made it to the 4th round, and I went undefeated. So my MLB deck was 4-0. I haven't had a chance to play it again yet, because the next 2 tournaments, I ran Dragonic Overlord at the end. The first one I played with, I did a first-second split with another Dragonic Overlord player that day. And then the next tournament I went to, Friday night, I played Dragonic Overlord at the end again. And this time I went undefeated through the whole day. At Locals we do best of 1 double elimination. And I went out the whole day. I think it was around like 4 or 5. I played Brandon Bestinelli against his Dragonic Overlord at the end. And it wasn't like too one-sided most of the game. And then I took it at the end with dope hitting. And then in the last match I played against Brandon Smith and his MLB, and I beat him. So the deck's been running pretty good. I'm going to show you how it's changed since my original build. Obviously, my starter is still Conroe. So, yeah, not really an option. The trigger lineup is probably the biggest difference you're going to see. So, I'm playing 4 crit, 4 stand, 4 draw, and 4 heal. Yeah. I know that sounds like almost amateurish, but it's a very intentional, very deliberate thing. Reason I'm playing stands and playing 4 of them is because most of the time my Vanguard is dope, whether I crossroad or not. Only like a third of the time do I have to play most of the game with my Vanguard as just Dragonic Overlord. So when Dote's my Vanguard, my opponent's usually blocking my attacks anyway, because they don't want to get critted and they don't want to let Dote hit. So in those scenarios, stand triggers are more useful than hitting a crit, because the opponent's usually preparing for a crit. So I prefer to have the stand in those situations. It makes it even harder for my opponent to fully be ready for my turn of attacks. And this card is a very good card, period. It has a very good effect. It kills grade 0s. It's like Heat Nail, but for grade 0s. Like early game against Royal Paladins, if you drop this and you attack your opponent's Vanguard, they have to either really heavily, very early, guard against your Vanguard, or you will get to kill their Wingull. It's also good in the mirror match to kill Conroe. And not only does it kill a card, but it will get this kind of weak trick booster off the field so that you can play a better one without doing just killing it for no reason. Plus, it's putting the trigger back in your deck. But that said, I also still run crits for when my Vanguard is just Dragonic Overlord. The crits obviously are good. Plus, it's adding the extra threat. If I attack my rear guard first and then swing at Dote, they not only have to worry about blocking Dote so they don't get critted by Dote or Persona Blasted by Dote, they have to worry about if I hit a crit, I'll give it to my rear guard who hasn't attacked. Plus, they'll still have to worry about if I hit a stand trigger and stand that other rear guard. So it's an added layer of offense for my opponent to have to worry about. And obviously, having the crits also is good for when I don't have Dote as the Vanguard and Overlord's my Vanguard, plus early game. And then obviously draw triggers for card advantage and Gatling Claw is one of the best triggers in the game because of his effect. And then obviously, heals are a staple. And then for the grade 1s, pretty much I think it is exactly the same. 4 bar, 2 Gojo, 3 perfect guards. Not 4 because I feel like with Dote's 13k, has enough defense that I don't need as many perfect guards. In most scenarios, a 10 guard blocks like even Vanguard attacks, and a 15 guard is usually like 2 to pass instead of 1 to pass, and a 20 guard is no pass. Airmo, 1 Airmo, because he's usually I search off a Conroe, and he just makes Dote that much harder to block. And with cards like Kimnala, who are sniping my opponent's boosters, to make it harder for their rear guards to even have a chance of attacking Dote because they can't be boosted. He's also going in the soul and giving Airmo more soul blasts. Then the grade 2 lineup is slightly changed. I'm running 4 10k Garps, just Garp because I like him over in the Holm. He looks cooler, I think. And now I'm running 4 Burning Horn and 3 Tejas. Tejas, I feel like, is very good because he's doing his job attacking grade 1s to kill the boosters so that my opponent can't get their rear guard strong enough to attack Dope because he's 13. And he's very good turn 2 ride against decks like Royal Paladin and Kagro. If I ride him, and then I can attack either Wingle Brave or the Conroe instead of attacking the Vanguard. Which it'll be really hard for, if I team him up with an 8k or whatever, bar and swing 16 at their 5k. If they 10 guard, it'll hit. If they 15 guard, it's 1 to pass. It puts a lot of pressure on them, and as I said, kills their grade 1s. And even if this card doesn't have a booster and he's not strong enough to attack my opponent's Vanguard, I can just drop him, and by himself, he's going to be strong enough to attack a booster in the back row. Then my grade 3s, obviously 4 Dragonic Overlord and 4 the Ends. But, speaking of the end, another thing about the stand triggers that a lot of people realize that you can do with stand triggers, which I've done, it helped me win a couple of my matches, is I would swing with Dope, and my opponent had to let it hit. And on the drive check, I hit a stand trigger. I used the stand trigger to stand Airmo, who was the booster for Dope, and then I had Dope Persona Blast. So I was able to give Dope a restand Dope and stand his booster for another full power attack. The first time I did it in the tournament, it won me the game because my opponent healed, and if I had just Persona Blasted and swung, they would have survived still. Because the heal gave them the power, they still would have had enough to survive, but because I also stood Airmo and was able to have Dote swing again for such big power, they couldn't block it and it won the game. As well as the stand triggers work really well with normal Dragonic Overlord if you use his counterblast, which there was one mirror match that I won because I had 4 cards left in deck. I knew one of those 4 cards was a stand trigger, so I knew I had a 25% chance of hitting it. So I played a rearguard Dragonic Overlord, used his counterblast, swung at him first at their interceptor. My opponent blocked it. Then when Overlord or the end swung, they blocked it, but I hit the stand, stood up that rearguard, and because of that, that was enough with his stand to boost his additional attack plus his power up from his counterblaster. It clinched the game there. So yeah. Thank you for watching.